Hey guys, how's it going? Ghosty Rich here today, and today we are going to be swapping out that flex plate in for the old Ram Hemi one with that back plate, and also right here is our new rear main seal. That way we know that every seal on this engine is basically done, except for the oil pan, which I'll do later. But as you can see, boom, that is the part number for this piece. If you're gonna switch yours to an SRT Jeep one, that is the part number. Let's see if I can find it for you. I think it's right about there. And then you also need this backer plate, which doesn't come on the Ram, and it is right there. So first thing I suggest we do is start cleaning. So it's best to clean these bolts when they're already on. Just a little bit of steel wool on one of these brushes. And it just, depending on how long yours has been sitting in here, this just cleans them up so that way your socket sits on there perfectly. Now again, I'm not reusing this flex plate, but if you are, you can always do this and look at that, it'll clean it up a little bit. Bring it back to new. But again, I wouldn't be too worried. So, next thing we're going to do is grab a socket and a pry bar. We need a pry bar so we can jam the flywheel right here, and so we can take these screws out. Pry bar right into the mount down there, and this isn't going to go anywhere. I'm not on the bottom of the oil pan because you're almost for sure going to bend the oil pan if you do that. So, now that we've got that, let's see if we can get some bolts. Don't take them all completely out right away. It's nice to have a way to just do that. And then if you do this, and you can fit this on even a hand impact, you don't need anything special, just even a drill or whatever you got. You can just undo all of these with that. Might need to get my longer one, or actually just do this. Whoa. Yeah. Oh, might have to reposition right there. See here. So, like I said, you can either do it this way, or if you have a drill attachment, go ahead and pull out all these bolts. Once you've gone ahead and done that, go ahead and remove your pry bar, slip this off, slip this piece off. Now, I'm actually replacing this whole piece in here. I'm not too worried about it. But what I am going to do is clean this up. I don't really need to clean that up. So first thing I'm going to do is actually open up the garage, vent it, and I'm going to spend a lot of time doing literally this. And just cleaning up in here. You don't have to do this. I'm just doing it because I want to make it cleaned up and clean up off some of this surface rust. Again, not going to bother with any of this because it's all part of the retainer. The only thing I might clean up is the back of the crank right here. And again, just doing that. It's looking a bit better, but I still have some work to do. So, next thing you're gonna wanna do is grab a ratchet. We're gonna wanna go to all these 8 mils. Get nice and loose. They should be pretty bloody loose. They are not torqued in there very much. That's why they have 8s, not 18s. So keep in mind of this before, so that way, if you don't have a torque wrench for some reason, which you really should when you're doing engine work like this, you know, no, I think these are 10s down here. So I'm gonna quickly grab my 10 because we have to take the 10s off the oil pan right here. I think there's 4 of them. Switch over the 10. So the ones I would do first are the ones on the bottom. Get those oil pan ones just out of the way. Makes it easier. And again, I'll probably polish those bad boys up before they go back in. And just don't forget which ones go where, because if you try cramming the 10 up here, I don't see any one of you doing it, but just don't do it, I guess. Look at that. They're all out. Next thing we got to do is pop this forward. Now this is probably, oh, maybe, I'm going to say I might need a pry bar, or maybe it'll just be nice and come right out. I might need a pry bar for behind here, if anywhere. Let's see. Oh, especially since I'm doing this. Let's see. This is not the pry bar I'm looking for, but let's see. Aha! Here we go. Jeez, that's not even that bad a shape. I'm only just doing this. This engine only has 70,000 kilometers on it, but I'm already in here, so I'm like, let's do it. So let's leave this right here for a second, just because I want to make sure. I'm almost sure this is got to come out, but let's double check. Oh yeah, she's coming out. So it's probably siliconed, that's why. Because what they like to do is when it meets the tranny pan down here, or wow, the engine pan, tranny pan. So from here, I would fire up your vacuum once again. Try and avoid this seal if you're not going to be replacing it. This is your oil seal. I will be replacing this, but even then, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna fire up my vacuum again, and I'm going to clean up in the edges right here. I wanna try and keep as much away from inside here. Even though I'm draining the oil afterwards, it's just common practice. Just sit here, hit it up, hit the areas you couldn't hit before. We got everything nicely cleaned up. Should slide in here perfectly fine. Gave this a quick wipe too, just to make sure. You'll see that this plastic piece is in here to make sure that that stays nice and round. Next thing we're gonna do is line this up the best we can and see how she wants to fit. Oh, also keep in mind, there's a gasket on the back. Make sure it's fully seated. It should be, but you never know. It's coming from the factory, right? So, after that, we'll just make sure this is right there, this is right there, and she should slide on about that easy. Now, I'm gonna make sure, there we go. I wanna make sure we're fully in there. I'm gonna do some love taps with a rubber mallet. Perfect. And we should be right on there. After we do that, grab your bolts. We're gonna put these in like so. Now, technically, we might have to do these ones first before we do the oil pan ones, because the oil pan ones are gonna line up probably only once we actually torque these to spec. But I'm gonna try it anyway. If it doesn't, oh well. So, let's see if they'll thread. If they don't, no biggie. Yeah, no, they're on a bit of an angle and I don't want to do that yet. So, let's grab our torque wrench. For these bolts, it's 132 inch-pounds. So, if you want, go ahead and if you have one of these, go to 134. I think that is 134 for me. Okay, so I think the first thing I'm going to do though is make sure this is the 8, which it is. I'm just gonna suck these in. Just like that. Again, this is just so I know everything's gonna line up. Oh, didn't want to do that, but hey. Oh, didn't want to do that either. Well, let's see. It's not much. That's why I say it's good to have a torque wrench. That way you don't absolutely warp it or anything like that. And right here. So, from there, grab these bad boys again and see if you can get them in this time. Oh, look at that. They work. And make sure you hand thread these ones for the first few turns. That way you know you don't strip it in. Because if you strip it, well, you're probably gonna cry. 108 inch-pounds. It's not much. Oh, that was scary. There we go. If you want, go ahead, go back over all of them one more time just to double check. You should be fine, but see, I already kind of went back through these two, but well, let's double check. And I'm not too worried about those ones up top, but now that I've jinxed myself, 132. Right there. And you can even see it's sealed, like that seal is crushed, which is good. And with it being silicone, it'll be sealed. There you go. Let's grab our flex plate. Couple things that might mess with you. One would be this one on the ram would go this way with the bubble on the outside here. See how it pushes out towards the bolts? On this one, the bolts get pushed inside. How you can tell is, see this green mark? It's on all of it. It tells you which way aims down. See? They both have it. So, what you're gonna wanna do, take this. See this bottom hole? If you look at back in the video, it was right there. This will only line up one way. You can't mess it up because the bolts physically won't go in. So if it's not working, that's why. Once you have that lined up, go ahead and take this spacer. Put it like that. Next thing to do, grab a bolt, a little bit of Loctite. You can use blue or red, whatever the heck you want. Blue is just more forgiving if you need to pull it out later. This is one of those places though where I don't think that's something you really worry about. Now that we have that one bolt in, we can now just hand thread every single bolt. And again, it should just go in. You should be able to screw it in. And yeah, it might get tough by hand at some point, but you shouldn't have to go crazy with it. Whoa, that was a lot of Loctite. And again, the retaining ring will only go on one way. That's why you just line the holes up. Nice of them to put holes on each layer. And again, you'll know if you get it wrong because you won't get all your bolts in. 2 of them won't line up or some odd. So like I said, that's why it's always good to put 2 in and then make sure the rest of them line up, because if they don't all line up, well, then you know. Go ahead and jam the flywheel and then 70 foot-pounds. That's 70. We're gonna go like you would a tire. Right there. Actually, let's go right here. Yeah, I thought so. This one needs a little more oomph. Needs a lot more oomph. Okay. Check. Check. Actually, here. Oh, see. All right. Yep, that's it. They're all on. If this video helped you out, like it. If you want to see more, please subscribe. If you want to see how I put this whole engine back together, check out the channel. And if you want to see this, go into that. Definitely stay tuned.